Yes, I've been reporting about, this Russian military escalation for the last 4 months. And today what is happening, I think it's a culmination. It's like a climax of this Russian military buildup. And we are finally seeing very clearly what Russia's real intentions were. It was never about Ukraine's membership in NATO. It was never about Ukraine's Donbas region. It was about the existence of Ukraine as a free and independent state. The fact that Russia is launching the attacks on the whole territory of Ukraine, including the western regions, central regions, east, south, and north of the country, it indicates that, Russia's real goal is to take control of all Ukraine. This is, of course, very hard, to witness and to be here at this moment because, well, I love my country. I wish it the best, and I know it's going to resist. And I know a lot of Ukrainians will be dying in this war. That's like the most painful thing, because a lot of Ukrainians' lives will be lost in a pointless war, which has no reason, which is only Putin's invention.
And to that point, as this, I guess, this realisation of his real intent, as analysts have been, trying to ponder exactly what his motivation has been, as this reality hits, what is your sense of how long Ukrainians will try and withhold his intent?
Well, Ukrainians will fight till the last soldier. That's what they did before. And today, actually, President Zelensky said that there are already heavy losses inflicted on the enemy. There are casualties on the Russian side. There are Russian helicopters and Russian aircraft and Russian tanks that have been destroyed. So Ukrainians are already fighting. But, of course, the forces are not equal. Russia is much superior in terms of the strength of its military. That's why Ukraine really needs Western support now. It needs more military assistance. It needs financial, economic assistance. It needs humanitarian assistance for civilian population, and the world should be acting very fast. Now there are heavy battles going on just 20 kilometers from Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. So there is really no time to wait for the reaction.
While you say people will fight to the last soldier, we are seeing a number of Ukrainians trying to flee, lines of cars heading towards the border. How many people do you think will try and leave Ukraine?
Well, it's very hard, to say any kind of estimates. It's understandable that people are trying to put at least their children, women in the safe place, and the vacuums, yes, on the outskirts, like on the exits of Kyiv towards Western Ukraine. Many people remained in Kyiv and in, other Ukrainian cities that were previously said to be potential targets, despite all the warnings. So they are trying at least now to, put their families in a safe place. It's completely understandable. A lot of people are also in shelters, in bomb shelters, because there are warnings. There might be like new Russian airstrikes. They've been incessant. They started at 5 a.m. local time in the morning, and they were continuing in the first half of the day. We are now only in the, entering the afternoon hour in Ukraine. So it will be still a very long day and very long night, probably.
Yeah. What is your sense of how people are feeling about the Western support that they've been getting? There's been a lot of talk about sanctions. There's been a lot of support of standing by Ukraine. But given that there is no intention to send military support into Ukraine to assist, do people feel abandoned there?
Well, I wouldn't say that there is no intention to send military support. The troops on the ground were excluded, but military support, Ukraine has been receiving it in the recent weeks in the form of weapons and, equipment, and also some kind of, medical assistance. So that should continue, but of course more should be done, and various options should be explored of how the West can support Ukraine. Of course, very strong sanctions should be applied in Russia now. Russia should be kicked out of international organizations. It's hypocritical that Russia hosts the presidency of the UN Security Council at the very moment when it launches an invasion of a sovereign and independent state. So I think all this should be implemented very fast, and the West should also think out of the box. This is an extraordinary situation that requires extraordinary actions.
As a journalist too, there seems to be so much misinformation about. How hard is it to keep on top of the news that is coming through?
Yes, a lot of videos and photos are surfacing now on social media, like old from previous years from Ukraine, but also from other conflict areas. So Ukrainian officials were explicitly telling the citizens to check their sources, to only trust official sources, because Russia is launching also a psychological war, you know, a war of propaganda in order to demoralize Ukrainian population, to demoralize Ukrainian armed forces. So that is currently underway. And of course, we should be very careful with you know, bringing in any kind of news that do not have official confirmation.
And you know, in terms of Vladimir Putin's claim that the particular regions that he first named at the start of this week around Donbass that have been contested now for some years, what kind of support is there, do you think, within Ukraine for Russian support and a move towards Russia?
There is no appetite for that. There is no support for that. And, you know, seeing today the scenes from Odessa region, from central Chernihiv region, northern Chernihiv region, from Cherkasy region in the central Ukraine, from Kharkiv in the east, how civilian residential areas, you know, were targeted by these Russian strikes. There are civilians who died as a result of these strikes. I think even less people in Ukraine would be kind of keen of wanting to have anything to do with Russia. The question now is also how Russians inside Russia will react to this. Will they take to the streets and protest the actions of their made dictator, or will they just silently watch and basically enable his actions? You know, so a lot depends on Russians itself these days, I think.
We appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And our thoughts are certainly with you at this difficult time.
Thank you.